Hello, and welcome to another episode of Goosebumps Podcast, Can Be Murder. I'm your host with the most, the ghost, Bumps in the Night. And tonight I'm joined by three of my other co-hosts. Tonight I have with me, in Otaku Life for me, a.k.a. Josh.
What's up, y'all? How you doing?
I have with me Brandon Sime.
How's it going, everyone?
And last but not least, the Grinch.
Hello.
Alright, and tonight we are reviewing book number 31, Night of the Living Dummy 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
What's special about this book, it is the halfway mark in the original series. Now granted, we've done some other stuff as well, but we've made quite a dent in the series, I'd say, as a group. This is going to be our shortest review because guess what? It's the same as number 1. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next week. I'm kidding. How funny would that be, though? We just literally end it right there. Night of the Living Dummy.
There would be some people that be upset.
It would be such a good troll, though, because let's be honest, guys.
It would be such a good troll. You are correct.
It's the same. It really is. They changed it a little bit. It's pretty much Digimon to Pokemon, but it's the same freaking thing. In the original book, Slappy was the main cover art. But the entire book, it was a red herring, because Slappy actually was only a set piece, and the main villain was Mr. Wood, which there are some people who believe Mr. Wood is a better dummy. Not many, but there is a Mr. Wood fan club, just like there's a Chicken cult.
Yes, sir. We love
I fucking hate the chicken
We
cold.
love cooking chicken in this household.
Okay, so
You're insane, dude.
let's run it back. So this is book number 31. This one follows Amy Kramer. Essentially, Amy's ventriloquist dummy is named Dennis, and he is kind of, a hand-me-down piece of shit. He falls apart. This is kind of a weird family. They do these family junctions where, I guess it was different in the 90s before tech, but they have these family nights where they all present or do something. So we got 3 kids and the 2 parents.
I just say something real quick.
Sure.
I don't know why, but whenever I read this book, I always picture that the family is Mormon.
Oh, okay. Hey, whatever headcanon helps, right?
Because that's what I've been in a Mormon family, and they definitely did family nights before.
What are you talking about?
Okay. And you know what? Thanks for sharing that. Alright, so, like I was saying, the Kramer family has 3 kids, and they're more in the story than the parents, but the 3 kids are Amy, who's our main protagonist, Sarah, who's the oldest and the perfectionist of the family, aka the favorite, and then they have the only son, Jeb. I think it was Jeb, right?
Yes, it's Jeb.
Yeah.
In the episode named Zeke.
I don't think so, but okay. So anyway, the short run of this is Amy's ventriloquist dummy keeps losing his head, for real. So Amy begs her family for a new dummy, and that's when her dad finds Slappy at a local pawn shop, what kind of pawn shop buys a dummy? Let's just start there.
Like any rental pawn shop would do that.
Well, they buy everything, and this was written in the 90s, and it was a different time in the 90s, so...
I'm gonna put a pause real quick, guys. I'm gonna be leaving the area I'm currently at, but I'll be going in headphones real quick, okay?
Okay. Then I'll just continue.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'll just continue without you for now, okay? His silence tells me yes. Her dad finds Slappy at a pawn shop. He's super duper ugly, but he's good enough for her to practice her new routine. And as such, for these Night of the Living Dummy books, terrible things start happening. And just like what happened the first time, because there's something odd about Slappy, something not quite right, something evil. They're doing the family night. Let's just assume Josh is right and say they're a Mormon family. Dennis's head falls off again. Amy complains about it, so the dad surprises her after she begs and begs with a new dummy. Unfortunately, this dummy is Slappy. After this, Sarah shows her family her new watercolor painting, which, watercolors, really? Okay, basic much? Get on that oil painting game. But she is disgusted to discover that someone has painted a red smiley face on her artwork, which in the episode they did that too, where they had just little stick figures painted in red on an oil painting bought from a thrift store. But they did a red herring here where essentially they set it up so it seems that Jed's gonna be the one causing the problems because Jed did paint on the smiley face and he got in trouble for that. The next morning, Amy's friend Margot visits her. Margot asks Amy to perform with Dennis in her father's restaurant to entertain some of the guests. Weird, but okay, I get it. They're trying to stretch the plot. Later that day, Mr. Kramer comes home with a gift for Amy. It's a new ventriloquist dummy named Slappy. Amy finds a moldy sandwich in Slappy's head and speculates that it was the dummy's brain. Mr. Kramer throws the moldy item away. I thought that was kind of pointless to put in there, but whatever.
Yeah.
While Mr. Kramer examines Slappy, Amy finds a small card and she reads it aloud. Carew, Marie, O'Donnell, Lamaro, Carano. You and I are now one in Latin. Shortly after reading that phrase, Amy thinks that she sees Slappy blink. Amy tells her father, Mr. Kramer's skeptical, saying, "No dummy could do that." Suddenly, Slappy slaps Mr. Kramer on the cheek, and Mr. Kramer assumes that Amy did this. You know, hidden switches or hidden leaves, if you will. She denies the accusation, but apologizes anyway. Amy tells Margot that she will be able to perform at her father's restaurant because she received the new dummy. After this, Amy starts spending more time with Slappy than with Dennis. During another family talent show, Amy performs with Slappy. However, Slappy insults Amy's parents, making them angry. She tries to tell them that Slappy's talking on his own, but her parents don't believe her. Amy apologizes and goes to sleep a little angry and confused. Sometime later, Amy is working on a science project for school. Since Sarah isn't home, Amy enters Sarah's room to pick up some markers for her project by herself. She notices Slappy laying on the floor near the door. When Sarah returns, she finds her room completely destroyed and all of her paintings ruined. While he is initially accused of vandalism, Jed says that he isn't responsible this time. And he says that he saw Amy enter Sarah's room earlier. Sarah accuses Amy of being the culprit, so Amy is punished. Strangely, she notices paint on Slappy's shoes, which they kind of mirror that in the episode with paint on his hand. That night, the whole family gathers to decide what to do with Amy, which, what the hell is this, a trial? We're all going to get together and be like, vote her off the family?
Job is spoken.
Survivor?
Yeah.
That night, the whole family gathers to decide what to do with Amy. She insists that Slappy had something to do with the vandalism in Sarah's room. Amy's parents ponder taking her to a psychiatrist. That's the most normal thing we've seen in a Goosebumps. Obviously crazy. Let's take you to a shrink. But they ultimately decide to punish her for 2 weeks. So instead, she just gets grounded. Still, Amy's parents allow her to perform at Margot's family's restaurant, but Amy feels a bit uncomfortable with Slappy. On the day of her performance at the restaurant, Amy is assigned to entertain a birthday party for a girl named Alicia. Amy asks Alicia if she'd like to shake Slappy's hand. Alicia shakes Slappy's hand. He holds it tightly and doesn't let go.
Honey, ow! Hey, she won't let me go! Cut it out! Stop it! Let her go! Let me go!
Slappy laughs evilly and Alicia starts crying. Alicia's mother calls Margot's father to tell her that she is going to sue the restaurant. Damn, that's a 90s move. Margot tells Amy to...
Also, I just remembered something. In the episode, instead of the birthday party, is at the house while they're trying to build the signs.
You don't say!
Yeah, they're doing posters for a dance. And Slappy squeezes little sister's hand instead of this random girl's, which I get why they did that. Margot tells Amy to leave. When Amy gets home, she throws Slappy in her closet. Later that day, Sarah discovers that all the walls in her room have been scrawled with Amy's name, written repeatedly in red paint. Red rum, red, red, red rum. Anybody?
Red rum. Red rum. Red rum. Red rum.
Slappy's laying near the wall with a brush, but Amy's parents think she placed the dummy there in her room. Worried about Amy's behavior and her parents leave, Amy shouts angrily at Slappy, but Slappy simply laughs cruelly. Amy vows to catch Slappy moving on his own and expose him. After dinner, Amy is going to her room when she sees Slappy leaving her closet and heading to Sarah's room. Amy stops Slappy, but she's discovered by Sarah. Sarah thinks Amy is trying to destroy more of her belongings. That night, Amy watches Slappy exit her closet. She asks the dummy to explain himself. Calmly, Slappy tells her that because she read the card in his pocket, aka the spell, she is now his slave. Which, let's talk about this correlation. Did R.L. Stine forget these were two different dummies? Or are we going off the theory that Mr. Wood had possessed Slappy and made him 10 times more eviler?
I believe this. I believe there's two different spirits in each dummy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But what I believe happened is when Mr. Wood was destroyed, the spirit that was inside Mr. Wood found its way into Slappy. Dancing the already evil spirit inside of Slappy.
To be fair, that may be for the book version of Slappy, but for the episode, as far as I remember, we were told that it was some evil magician that made Slappy originally, at least in the episode.
Well,
that's what it says.
his origin differentiates from episode to episode, book to book, but if Amy doesn't do what Slappy says, he'll destroy more of her family's belongings. Furious, Amy locks Slappy in her closet. She goes to ask Sarah for help. To Amy's surprise, Sarah reveals that she already knew that Slappy was alive. She had seen him destroying her room, but she was afraid to tell her parents because they wouldn't likely believe her. Together, the sisters grab Slappy and throw him down a sewer.
You're never gonna hurt me again. Ever.
Hey kid, wait, come on!
He returns the next morning. In the episode, Amy had just thrown him down the sewer herself. It was down a storm drain where Pennywise hangs out. But anyway, the sisters then formulate the dumbest plan possible, decide to dress Jed as Dennis in order to surprise Slappy while their parents watch.
That is not a plan.
It's barely a concept.
Scheme goes, and the parents are hiding in a closet, mind you, so this is all just stupid. If you think your kid's crazy, why are you going through all this? I guess it's love. whatever. It's a really weak plot point. Feels like it was written by an 8-year-old for an 8-year-old. But anyway, the scheme goes as planned until Dennis bashes Slappy's head against Sarah's bedpost. In the episode, it was the liner for the chimney, breaking it in half, and a worm-like creature, a white little worm, crawls out from the dummy's broken head, and it wiggles away through a crack in the wall. Which, obviously, in the episode, it was green mist. They kept that continuity up. Amy's parents apologized to her for not believing her. The family wanted to congratulate him, looks for Jed. Turns out that Jed had fallen asleep and forgot to disguise himself as Dennis. The whole Kramer family is silent as they wonder who killed Slappy. Surprise, surprise, it was Dennis, because this one was alive too.
He says, "Glad to be part of the family again."
As Goofy. The question is, though, was Dennis always alive? Was Dennis always alive, or did Dennis wake up when she read Carew, Maria, Donna, Lamaro, Camaro?
I believe that Slappy brought him to life at some point.
So, and we've talked about this through different podcasts and media forms, but essentially, the books are so similar. There's a reason they didn't make the first episode as a Night of the Living Dummy 1. Because they're so similar, it was cheaper to make 2 because number 1 had twins and had a construction site and some other stuff. Episode to book, I think the adaptations were pretty decent, but let's start here. Brandon, tell me something you liked about the book.
Not as dark as the first one, but I definitely liked how Slappy was still kind of like edgy, I guess, if you will. I guess for me, it was just like how Slappy. When I first read that book, I didn't read the first one. I read the second one first, and then I went back to the first book. So for me at that time, it was like the probably darkest book that I read up to that point. So I was like, holy cow, this book is like really messed up compared to the other books that I read in the series.
Josh, tell me something you liked about the book.
I like that. I mean, obviously, Night of the Dummies is my favorite series. Slappy's my favorite villain. Pressure that Amy had felt, being the middle child, things sucks. And the fact that she's trying to tell everyone that something's going on and no one believes her.
I feel that. It makes her feel powerless. Grinch, something you liked about this book.
I feel like how Slappy is a lot more in this book compared to the first one. The first one was scarier, I will admit. But I feel like having Slappy be more of the attention dummy than more creepy and more.
Alright, I agree. I think that Slappy being in the book more definitely was a brighter side for me. But again, the first one had a really good twist, and I can't be mad about what they did there, Jesus, Josh, you might want to just hop out, dude. Like, I'm thinking you're the radio, right?
Wait, what?
Are you the one with the radio in the background?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you definitely are. Do me a favor, homie. Give me a score and then skedaddle, just so it doesn't affect the complete audio of this.
Score for the book, 7.5.
And then tell me something you didn't like.
The ending was too ambiguous. I didn't like that.
Okay. All right. Get on out of here, you animal. We'll catch you later.
And I'm going to go upstairs, and I'm going to tell them all about you.
Brandon, what's something you didn't like about the book?
I guess just that it was basically a carbon copy of the first book again.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, there is a little bit of differences, but not by much.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. It was very, very similar. Like, it's like when they sell the Pokemon Ruby to Pokemon Emerald, All right, Grinch, what's something you disliked?
I kind of wish Dennis had more of a reason, to come alive at the end. For the whole of the book, he just lays there with his head on the floor, just staring, and doing nothing half the time. Like, we never see why he's alive.
Yeah, just for me personally, I felt like for this to be one of the big, because this is one of the big sequels, let's be honest. Night of the Living Dummy is one of the big staples in Goosebumps. Slappy is technically, on paper, the most popular character. So for this to be his big sequel, where it's his own story this time, I just felt kind of lazy. It felt like Snyder didn't really try as hard, and that disappoints me. Let's get to a scoring system, starting with Brandon. Josh gave us a 7.5 for his score. Brandon, what do you score it?
I'll give it an 8.
Okay. Grinch, what do you score it?
Probably an 8.
Okay. I'll give it a 7. 30.5, divide that by 4, 7.625, round down. So this is going to score a 7.5. It's a solid C tier book. I think that's a fair point for it, honestly. All right, let's talk about the episode. The episode's very similar. The only real differences are the episode is a little more corny. We don't have the restaurant scene. They do have a dummy that's head that falls off named Dennis. Amy is antagonized. Instead of the restaurant scene, though, like Grinch said earlier, her best friend's over making posters for a dance. Slappy speaks to the little sister and then pinches her hand really hard with his little gross clay hands, which causes her to be like, I never want to see you again, which is stupid because they go to the same school. Slappy, instead of trashing Sarah's room, he does destroy a painting, but he also smashes the dad's guitar, which dick move. But again, we heard the dad play, it wasn't great, so maybe he did us all a favor.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. happy and you know it, clap your hands.
After that, very similar. The parents aren't thinking of hiding to watch. The parents just, they don't know what to do with their little problem middle child. That's when Sarah eventually believes that Slappy is real. And so look at that. Now we've got two female protagonists dealing with Slappy, just like the first book. No, Jed's not involved at all. Jed's just MIA. They come down to this final battle. It's weird because, like, in the living room, it's way too smoky. It should not be that foggy or smoky in their house, but it is. Then one of the Slappy replica props that has, like, a ceramic head is knocked over. It smashes on the chimney, like, area where, like, it keeps the coals from shooting out. It breaks on the brick, and then we see the green mists evaporate. And it turns out that Dennis did it. And they thought it was Jed, but Jed just happens to walk in the scene and be like, what's going on? And Dennis that's where Grinch did the goofy voice for Dennis.
It's good to be back in the family again.
Good to be back in the family again.
Which they never truly explain as to why Dennis was alive, and it just, aside from that really lame plot twist at the end, there really was no reason for it. Which again, long story short, it doesn't feel like Dennis needed to be alive, and because they brought him to life, it really took away from the first story as well as from the second story, because they're mirroring or gleaming off the first story. It was a really weak ending in my opinion, and although it is nice to finally see Slappy have his own story, I think overall the way they took this plot hurts it more than helps it. Alright, so let's rate the episode. Brandon, what would you rate this episode?
Honestly, the episode, I'll give a 7.
Okay. Grinch?
7.
I'm going to give Josh a 7 as well, even though he's not here for this part because I kicked him because I couldn't listen to any more of like the 80s music. And I'll also go to 7. That's easy peasy, 7 across the board. It was a good episode, solid episode, fun little watch, especially around Halloween time. Anyway, let's do a closing statements and I'll close the podcast out. Grinch, closing statements for this book.
I feel like it's a very better book. It at least had more of a Slappy. But I feel like if you're gonna make a book about Slappy, at least focus more on Slappy than having Dennis being the main dummy that they see in the first few minutes of the episode and the book. So you can get more idea of Slappy.
Okay. Brandon, closing statements.
I like the book. Like I said, I like the book. I like the episode. I think I like the first one a little bit better just because of how much, I guess, edgy the first one was and how much more that book got away with. This was still a really decent sequel, and honestly, I think it's still one of the better books of the series.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like it suffers from copying from its parent. But besides that, it was not a bad book in any way. It's one of the better Goosebumps books. If we were splitting them down the middle, it's in the higher part of the 31s than the lower parts. So, all right, like I said, thank you for watching. Goosebumps Podcast Can Be Murder. Make sure if you want to join us down below, there's a link into the Discord. Hop in, tell us what you think, join us for a podcast, talk some shit, do whatever, man. It's a free country for now. If you did enjoy today's episode, make sure you do the stuff like, comment, subscribe, share, or don't. It's free country for now. With that being said, we'll stab you in the next one.